Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are you all doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
A little under the weather, but I'll be,
Oh,
yeah, terrible. But other than that, I'm okay. So, um, I'll wait for everyone to come in so we can know how everyone's week was and studying wise. And so the Brainscape, did you find that? Did you get into that?
so I clicked on it, paid for it, and then it said it send me a code when it's ready. Is that a thing?
I don't know about sending a code.
Yeah,
Um,
because
Interesting.
I went to the app and I saw a couple of things that said Brainscape, so I'm nervous. So I just want to wait until I know it's the right one. But I knew I had been looking for the Brainscape because I remember when I heard Dr. Pam say it, and I was like, this would be interesting for $30 for 3 months. It'll give me
Yeah,
the questions. And then when you said it, it was like, yay. But
yeah.
yeah,
And it sent you a code, but that was interesting. I don't know. I know that that was the link that they provided us for everyone.
yeah, it didn't send a code. It said it would send a code.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna wait.
Okay. Let me know what you find out and
I will.
okay. Give everybody a couple more minutes. Listen, a couple people. There's Kinsey. Okay. Couple more minutes. I want to go ahead and get started. Okay, there she is. If anybody has some good home remedy suggestions for any sicknesses, let me know so I can get rid of this.
Go,
Something that I don't
can I
know.
go to Starbucks and get you a medicine ball?
A medicine ball. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. I'll do that when we're done. Absolutely. Um, Thank you.
Do you like mint or eucalyptus better?
Probably mint.
Ask them for extra mint.
Okay.
Pepper. Ask for extra peppermint.
Extra peppermint. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will do that. So thank you.
Not eucalyptus. Yeah.
So, how has everyone's week been? Tell me about it. Should have a good week studying wise. Anyone?
Yeah, it was okay.
It was okay. Tell me your struggles because I know I wanted to touch on this because I know last week that you said that, well, some of you mentioned that Dr. Pam's book was a little bit um, hard to understand and you understood the Howick book a lot better. So tell me where the struggles are with that book, if you could. Anybody? So is it,
Vague,
go ahead.
maybe? I mean, the information for me is there. I think that because I failed the test before, I'm afraid that it's not enough information. I had the Hellwood book first.
Mm-hmm.
So I had already started reading that one. So I downloaded Dr. Pam's book. So when I'm looking at them side by side, I'm feeling like her book maybe is extremely vague and I may be missing information, but I know that's probably my own fears.
No, I understand where you're coming from on that. And that's what I also want to reiterate is that listening to Dr. Pam or just having her book it won't be enough, right? And that is why it's important to go back to the video. You guys also have your group and then also listen to her videos too throughout the week. But the Helwig book, I understand, especially if you had it first, so I can understand where you're coming from as far as with more information on that. So I just want to make sure that everyone is feeling comfortable where we are at this point. Is everybody feeling comfortable? Do you have any concerns? Are you struggling with any information that we've went over thus far? Because helping relationships is so big.
I will say that I am fine. I don't think I'm struggling. My main concern was making sure that we are covering everything that possibly that I should know. Because whatever it is, so even if I'm going through Hellwit books, Dr. Pam book, I'm still going to look that information up in detail. So I just need to make sure that everything that we're covering is the stuff that we're going to be covering on the test. And I think that it was.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't hear you.
That's it. You said that it was. We're going through everything that will possibly be on the test. So I'm gonna go deeper to study whatever it is. So I'm fine so far.
Okay. When it comes to certain dates and things like that, that's not huge on the test. It just isn't. And that's why we go over the theorists and what they do. We don't need to know when Freud started or, Eric Erickson and when he started, just knowing those stages in detail. And that's important for the test.
What can I ask you? When did you last take the test?
I took it a year ago, year and a half ago.
Okay. So kind of recently. Okay, I was just wondering. And I feel good working with you as you did take the test.
Yes, definitely. So anyone else?
I'd say
Feeling
for me, the similar kind of thing is just like I want to make sure I'm covering everything. And I think the thing that gets me the most is not necessarily the content, because once I go over the content, I feel like I know it, but still the questions seem to be a little bit tricky, or like, when there's multiple sound good answers, it's hard to kind of like really sift through that. So I think it's just getting used to the questions and really understanding how to answer them properly. But I feel like I'm getting it. It's coming.
okay, that's good. And I know last week, the questions were difficult and they will be difficult. And, as I mentioned last week, just being patient with yourself. And I hate the P word, but that is really true because we're just starting out learning how to answer the questions and how to identify and how to eliminate the answer key. So with that comes practice, comes time, you'll get used to it, and then you will be able to move forward. Even the ones that you get wrong, again, is still learning because you're trying to figure it out and you're trying to understand how to eliminate the answers. So I hope that helped.
Yeah.
Did you have something, Kenzie? Okay. Anyone else have questions, concerns that I can answer for you? Because my job is to make you feel as comfortable as possible. So and to help you pass the test. So is there any questions that you have?
No questions or concerns. With me, excuse me, with me, honestly, I'm just pacing myself. Like, I'm not in a hurry. I want to
Mhm.
make sure that I'm able to understand and retain the information
Mhm.
because the questions are critical thinking. So
Mhm.
being able to read the question and then being able to answer the correct answer. So because I know as far as like things that I have going on as far as like my work schedule and stuff like that is a lot. So when I feel like I'm ready, then I'll take the exam. But I just wanted to at least get a starting point.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Joyce. Anyone else? I will be going after every week. Of course, I'm going to ask you questions about what you've retained. How is group going for you guys? Have you found like your dynamic and getting your groove?
No, I don't think we have. I think we kind of struggling with the group.
Okay, what's the struggle?
I guess like what to study, like what to actually do in group.
Okay, because that hour is important for you guys. So if we are going over what we had just spoke about or what we just had discussed in our prep course, then that would be something that you guys would go back and talk about and discuss. So each week, that specific area that we're on, that would be something that you guys would, quiz each other about. Who is Freud? How does this make sense? Margaret Mailer, discuss her in her stages, the things that we had just went over, because when I come back, when we return the next week, then I'm going to ask you questions. So these are the things that you need to retain on top of listening to Dr. Pam 3 hours a day. And I know it's a lot, um, trying to figure out, I know life and work and family and everything. I get it, but still being able to find that time to put in the work to listen to Dr. Pam too and her recordings. If you guys need recordings, if you are struggling, and there's a lot of videos on Dr. Pam's YouTube page, right? On our YouTube page. So it can be overwhelming. If you would like, I could find you a helping relations video and send it to the group. And maybe that would help you guys get started since you're struggling, because I don't want you not to retain this because it's so huge.
I would love that. I would love like every time we have a group that that you would send us a YouTube video of whatever Dr. Howe, of that section of Dr. Pam. I think that would help. I don't see how it would help when we do our group.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing that it seems like when we do our group that would help is if we have questions to ask each other.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only thing that I see that brings us together, if we can ask questions. But to talk about what we learned previously is kind of hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So every group is different, right? So just finding that dynamic again, I just don't want you guys not to be able to figure it out because you have that hour. So I sent the Brainscape link. So hopefully getting set up with that, if you guys wanted to go over questions with that, remembering the questions are not the biggest part at this point. You still have to retain, but if that helps you within that hour, yeah, go ahead. Maybe that's a way for you guys to get jump started and to, start figuring out your niche. Although it seems like we have a lot of weeks, I know the weeks go fast. You know, we're already in November, so I just want to make sure you all are doing okay and we can move on. Another thing I wanted to mention was the when you turn off your camera, if you're turning off your camera to do something for a moment, that's fine. But I do want you to have the camera on most of the time. Reason for that being is I know you guys paid a lot of money to be here. Although you can go back and watch the video, it's not the same as listening to it in real time. That just takes an extra amount of time to refocus, and when we have the time right now for the 2 hours. So, all right. Well, let's get started.
I had a question.
Yeah.
So I have to run and pick up my kids for like half an hour. Do you
Okay.
want my camera on during that time?
Not if you have your kids and you're doing all that. You're not going to be able to focus. No, that's okay.
No,
So with that,
I'm listening. I'm driving. Right.
okay. Okay,
So
that's fine. I know you have mentioned that. I didn't know that that was every week. But if that is, that's no problem. That's something that you have to do. So I get that.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. We talked about Freud. We didn't get into the psychosexual stages. I'm gonna go back to that. But tell me about who could tell me about the id, the ego, and the superego?
Well,
Okay.
the id is driven by the pleasure principle, present at birth. The ego is the balance between the two. It's reality. And the superego is morality.
Okay. All right. Good job there. What else? Anyone else? Good job with that, Freud. Appreciate it. What about Margaret Mailer?
She,
Uh,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
She was the one who focused on children having a relationship with their parents, and that, or a caregiver, a solid caregiver in that first 3 years, or else they would have struggles in life with attachments and um, depression, could be other mental illness.
Mm-hmm. What was her theory? Its name. What was the theory of Margaret Mailer?
The object relations, is that the theory?
Good
The
job.
name?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay. And what were the she said if we don't develop a bond between the ages of 1 and 3. You mentioned depression. Not really the
attachment, uh,
Conduct disorder.
conduct disorder. Yep. Anyone else? Borderline. That's a personality disorder.
Antisocial.
Right. Antisocial. Yeah. Good job, guys. What happened in the first stage of Margaret Mailer stages, which is known for you tell me, the first stage. The first stage of Margaret Mailer.
Symbiosis.
Not the first one. Close though.
Okay.
Fusion.
Fusion. Yeah. So you may see autistic or fusion on the test. That's the first stage. Can anybody tell me what happened in that first stage?
limited awareness of the outside world.
Well, nothing really. It's just they just lay there. Yeah, nothing's happening because it's that birth to 4 weeks. So nothing's going on at that point. They're just laying there. Nothing really to be concerned about at that point. Symbiosis is the second one. What happens in that stage?
There's the mother and the baby is seen like one.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yep, they are. That's when the baby realizes that mom's there. That's when they really are there to feed off of mom if she's breastfeeding. So they are really one. Exactly. Good job. Okay. What about separation? When does that start?
36 months. Is it 36?
Around the fifth month. Around the
About
fifth month.
Fifth. Yes. Yep. Around the 5th month. Exactly. And then after that, we have the self-awareness, and then we have the around the 36 months, right? The consistency of self and object. So this is where the goal is to have a consistent caregiver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone good there? So the symbiosis, again, that's when the baby, they learn the world. That's usually their first human bond, which is they share with their mothers. So that's that's when they really develop that trust and security and confidence there. We used to have differentiation on there, and that is where it's not on there so much on the test, but I'm going to let you know it anyway. Give me a moment. Just so you can know. You able to see that? Let me share the screen. Hold on a second. Sharing. Can you guys see that? Can you see differentiation? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Differentiation, that is the same term as separation, individualization. So this is the stage where they realize that they are really separate from their mom. Practicing usually isn't on the test. That's when they use a crawl, and will typically return to mom for comfort. Reproachment is 16 to 24 months. That is when a baby is walking, and they know mom is there, so they're always looking back. So the baby's starting to walk, and then they're still looking back to see if mom is there for that comfort. Object constancy, knowing that someone is unconsciously always has your back. That is the stages between 2 and 3. And that is what Margaret Mailer's theory was all about. Knowing that someone unconsciously has your back. If you do not have that, again, she said you will develop those personality disorders. Okay, we talked about Carl Rogers. Someone tell me about him. Everyone good with Margaret Mailer first? If you're not, ask me questions. Okay. Carl Rogers.
Carl Rogers was didn't
Person's
believe in
clients and-
diagnosing.
What was it? What was it, Kinsey? Sorry.
Yeah, didn't believe in diagnosing clients
Uh-huh.
and client centered.
Mm-hmm. Client-centered or person-centered, you can see on the test.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else about him? What was the one word that I spoke about that is kind of hard to say? His approach.
Phenomenological.
Feminological.
Yep.
Yeah. And what does that mean?
How a person experiences life through their own eyes or
Mm-hmm.
through their view.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Good job. Okay, let me take this down. And remembering what Carl Rogers was, he was a humanistic theorist. So he was the one who focused on the client's worldviews. He came after Freud, right? So he was more person-centered, client-centered, Rogerian. You'll hear that on the test, so you know that's Carl Rogers. Important to know, again, the client provides a non-judgmental environment while encouraging self-exploration. Can you tell me, well, it's right here. So unconditional positive regard, right? That was the empathetic understanding. Again, he was the opposite of Freud. The goals for his counseling were to have the client aware of the problem and provide them with a setting that allows his ability to resolve them. So Carl Rogers didn't really talk a lot in session, right? He was person-centered. He really let the person figure out their own issues. He was there to be empathetic. He was there to guide, but really letting the person figure it out for themselves. The focus of treatment is on the person rather than the problem or symptom for Carl Rogers. I want to go back to Freud for a minute. We didn't do Gestalt, did we? We didn't cover the Gestalt. Okay, that's what we're going to next. I didn't think so. I wanted to go back to Freud, to his psychosexual stages. So we know that, of course, Freud, he was our psychoanalytic founder. It's now called psychodynamic. We know Freud was always the expert. Remember, you were always wrong, especially if you were a woman. He said that there were erogenous zones. I'll put this up. Give me a second here.
So I have a easy way to remember this that I learned from another study group, if anybody wants to know.
I do too, but tell me what you've learned.
Old ass people love gold.
Yep, that's what I was just getting ready to cover. Good for
Oh,
you.
okay.
It's an acronym.
Yeah.
For his cycle. Thanks, Kenzie. Appreciate it. For Freud's psychosexual stages of development, old as people love gold. There's also Orphan Annie one, but I figured this one's always stuck with me, so I didn't ever remember that one. I'll bring it up here in just a minute. So the erogenous zones, again, according to Freud, had to do with our mouth, our anus, and our genitals. Old as people love gold. For an acronym. Excuse me. Okay, so Freud psychosexual stages of development. So he said the oral, this is the mouth sucking, swallowing. The anal, this is withholding our feces. Phallic stage, this is our penis. Masturbation is big here. This is a part of our superego, he says. This is our oral is a part of our ego. Latent, nothing really happens here. Little or no sexual motivation present. And then the genital, this is the penis or vagina sexual intercourse. I'm bringing something up here. Am I back?
Yes.
Goodness. Sorry about that. I was just talking away. Okay. So I kept saying, am I sharing? Am I sharing? Nobody was saying anything. Freud. Okay. Am I sharing my screen with his psychosexual stages of development? All right, let me see here. How about now? Sharing?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So oral, this is the pleasure. This is through oral activity. This is where Freud really suggests that, I wanted to bring you up something else. Give me a second. So oral is usually birth to 18 months. On the test, so what you'll see is you'll have different ages, and they may range from give or take a few months off. It doesn't matter. It's not trying to trick you. What it is, as long as you still know what happens within that stage. So you may see this says birth to 1 year old. It could be birth to 18 months. Okay. But as long as you know what's going on in this particular stage, you will still be able to answer the question. So you shouldn't get tripped up. This is where Freud says this is the breastfeeding stage. This is where he said if the mother was taken off of the breastfeeding, if the baby was taken off of the nipple too soon and did not satisfy the baby, this would lead to later a fixation at this stage. This would include smoking or overeating, according to Freud, in this oral stage. So again, breastfeeding is big. If you were taken off the nipple too soon, this is a fixated stage. This is going to lead to bad habits as you become an adult. And he says because the mom was not able to satisfy the child, according to Freud. Next stage is our anal stage. This is our erogenous zone stage. This is where children begin potty training and withholding or expelling their feces. So this is usually between 1 to 3, 2 to 3. Again, you will see 1 to 3 or 2 to 3 on the test. This is the potty training stage. At this stage, Roy would say if mom took the child off the potty too soon, their sphincter muscle, which is their buttock muscle, will be tight. So if you were potty training and took your child off the potty too soon, that sphincter muscle would be tight, and that would create OCD later in a person who hates messes, who's obsessively tidy, punctual, really, and respectful of authority. So they're really tight-fisted with cash, he said. So this is all related to the pleasure of holding on to their feces when they were toddlers and their mom insisting that they get rid of it by placing them on the potty until they perform. Now, I don't know about you, but I have children, and I set them on that potty when they needed to go until they pee in the potty. So this is Freud's theory. Again, this is what he says in the anal stage. Any questions?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So, okay, just to make sure I understand, this stage is, it says the anus withholding or expelling feces. So are they holding their feces? They're holding it, right?
Yeah.
And so when they say, when Freud says, if you take them off the potty too soon, like, what do you mean? Like as a child, or explain that a little bit.
As a child between the 2 and 3 years old. So they're holding it, and then they don't want to use it, and then you make them sit there. So it's like a fight between the child and the mother, and he's saying if you do not. So if you the pleasure of holding on to this. So if the mom is insisting that they do this until they perform, the toddler is holding on to it and not wanting to perform.
Okay. Okay. All right. And if they do that, this equaled out to them wanting to hold on to something later on in life, like being cheap.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they were holding on to that during this stage.
During that stage. Okay. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Did I answer that for you?
Yep, you did.
Okay. Anyone else for that stage? Okay, we have the phallic stage. That's between the ages of 3 to 6, 3 to 5, give or take. Okay. This is where masturbation occurs. This is when Oedipus is when the boy, and I'll put that up here. I'll put that up here in a second. Oedipus is when the boy is in love with his mother, and the son is afraid that his father will find out and he will get castrated. The Electra during this stage is the girl is in love with her father. So she has penis envy because she wants to be just like dad. So let me put this up here for you. Can you see that? Let me bring that up a bit. Is that better? Okay. So again, the phallic stage, and this is key. This is masturbation. Oedipus, the O is silent. When the boy's in love with his mom, son is afraid his father will find out, he'll get castrated. Electra, again, key for this. The girl's in love with her father. She has penis envy because she wants to be just like her dad, according to Freud. Do I need to keep this up here for a little bit? Everyone good? Okay. Okay, then we have latency. That's between 7 to 11 years old, or it could be between 6 and 12. Nothing really happens here. There's little to no sexual motivation. Here, children spend more time and interact with the same sex. So nothing happens in latency. Genital, that's our adolescence. That is 12 and up. This is where, this is also known as the libido stage. So this is libido. This is where they start to have strong sexual urges towards opposite sex. Libido meaning sexual instincts that are present. Everyone good with Freud and the stages? Any questions? I know we talked about topography. Did we talk about topography last week? Go back to Freud for a minute. Yes, the iceberg. Can somebody tell me about the iceberg? Anyone? What about counter transference?
I mean, I can tell you about the iceberg.
Okay.
Our conscious awareness is at the peak. Unconscious is deep under the water, and the pre-conscious is in the middle. It's memories that can easily be recalled, but they're not quite conscious.
Okay. So can you give me an example?
Of which one?
The pre-conscious?
Pre-conscious may be maybe losing my keys, maybe.
So give me an example.
So my pre-conscious is memories that they're not okay, so they're not repressed fully, but they're not conscious. I can't give an example. I know what it is, but I can't give an example.
Okay, you did good though. And I know where you were going with it. You did good because you were saying the pre-conscious. So in other words, it's an accessible memory that you can retain. So, and I'm assuming that you said if you lost your keys, like you could go back and say, oh, okay, I remember where they are.
Yeah.
Okay. I know I even mentioned like a phone number, a phone number when we were younger, still remembering that landline or something that you had back in the day at your house, right? Something like that. So it's accessible. We can think of it if we tried hard enough. So it's there. Of course, we know conscious, we are aware of it. The unconscious, we know that. What is that?
Repressed memories.
Right. Those are our repressed ones. Those are our hidden desires, right? The unconscious is the part of our psyche where we really don't want to go to. They are our impulses, right? Our traumatic experiences. We talked a little bit about neo-Freudians. Do we remember what they are, what they stood for?
They believe in the unconscious and learning it through social.
Okay.
They
So
they didn't believe it to be psychosexual like Freud, but they believe in psychosocial. They believe in psychosocial.
not psychosocial, but they believed in the ego.
The ego.
Yeah, so the neo-Freudians, they only believed in the unconscious. So they believed in the ego. What'd you say? Sorry. Were you talking?
No, I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So they only believed in the unconscious, in the ego. So they did not believe in the id or the superego. And they did not believe in any sex like Freud. So that's key for them. No sex. So the iceberg that we've seen for Freud, that is known as the topography. This is what it's known as. And I'll put that down here. As I find that to put in here for notes. Can anybody tell me about the TAT? That we talked about? That was Freud's last week.
Is it the black and white test?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was a black and white test. Good job. And then what did it say? So whatever you came up with is what it was, according to you, because everybody viewed it in their own way, right? What about the Roshires? The Roshires.
It was a.
Go ahead.
If it's subjective test,
Mm-hmm.
and like you tell like what you think it is, and basically he'll tell you it's not what you think.
Exactly. So what it was, you said subjective. So you were projective. So you're projecting from your unconscious. You are the client, right? And Freud would be subjective because it was his opinion. So although whatever you would say, which is projecting from your unconscious about that ink block picture, Rosher's ink block picture, he would still be subjective and say you were wrong because, of course, he's always right. He's the expert.
And was that only for the Rorschach, the ink block test, or was that for the tattoo, the tap perception test,
The TAT.
the TAT? Was it
Yes.
for that one too? So it's all of those tests?
Black and white pictures you come up with and ask what you saw. Again, yeah, because he was always an expert. So, and especially to women. So he always was subjective. Okay, you seen that, but no, this is what it was. This is what it is. He would always give. What was that?
He crazy, sound very crazy. Controlling,
Yeah.
I guess is a better word. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a lot. He was a lot. He definitely was a lot. We also know the rotters. We talked about that, the incomplete sentence test, and that's where you fill in the blank. An incomplete sentence, and it's unfiltered from your own mind of what you think it would be, how you would complete the sentence. I'm going to bring up Freud's defense mechanisms. Give me just a minute. Give me just a second. Okay. Okay, here we go. Defense mechanisms. So first we have denial. According to Freud, with denial, this is refusing to recognize an emotion or problem. So Freud said that we all, our defense mechanisms are to protect our unconscious. So everything with Freud is to protect our unconscious, probably most likely, right? That's what he says. And he wanted to bring these things to the conscience to prevent anxiety. So this is where we get these defense mechanisms. So again, these are to protect our unconscious, and he wanted to bring it to our conscience. So denial, refusing to recognize an emotion or a problem. With denial, you can say if someone your parents are getting divorced, but you act as though nothing is wrong. When friends express their concern, you laugh and tell them it does not bother you, right? That's in denial. If someone had passed away in your life and you are not accepting that they are gone, so you're still in denial. These are important to know for the test. These will be on the test. Compensation, making up for weaknesses in one area by excelling in another area. So as an example here, you are failing 2 classes in school. You compensate by becoming the lead saxophone player in the school band. Another example for compensation would be, say that mother and father, they just went through a divorce, and a father rarely gets to see his children. So when he does see his children on the weekends, he compensates and buys them lavish gifts because he's no longer present with them in the household. That's another example for compensation. Next, we have rationalization. That's making excuses for actions or feelings. So you work in a convenience store where no one is watching you. You take some magazines, you figure it's a large store and they can afford it. Another, let me think of another example for rationalization. If a woman is being abused and her boyfriend rationalizes it, right? Well, it's because you were in my face or because you got loud with me. That's why I hit you. Being able to rationalize the situation. Reaction formation, that is behaving in a way opposite to the way you feel. So example here, you feel guilty for bullying a kid at school. You cover up your feelings by bragging to friends about your actions. Another example of reaction formation would be, say a young boy is bullying a girl because he's really attracted to her. So again, behaving in a way opposite to the way you feel. Projection, that is putting your own thoughts onto another person. At your after school job, you do not complete your tasks. When you get fired, you blame your boss, saying she did not take the time to explain the task to you. Another example would be a person who feels angry and hostile, maybe towards a coworker, and then might accuse the coworker of being angry and hostile towards them. So again, projecting your own faults onto another person. Regression. This is returning to immature behaviors to express emotions. You are angry at your brother for reading your diary. You scream at him and your parents, run into your room and sulk. So with this, I also like to say for regression, if there is a client that comes into your office and you guys are talking about, the two of you are talking about trauma, and if the client had experienced traumatic trauma in her life, she may regress back into a childlike stage. Any questions there? Oop. I'm gonna put a couple more up here in my Word document. Give me just a second. Okay, here's a couple more. Can you guys see that, or do I need to make it bigger? You guys can see?
I can see it.
Okay, I'll make it bigger. Is it better now? Okay, displacement. Redirecting feelings onto a less threatening person. So displacement, again, this is one of a defense mechanism as well. You are at work and you've had an argument with your boss, right? Your boss has told you to get this assignment done, this project, you haven't done it yet. Now he's upset with you. The deadline is here and you have less than 24 hours. You should have had it done anyway. So your boss is down your throat. You go home to your family and they're happy to see you, but you're still enraged from what you could not say to your boss. So now you take it out on a less threatening person. So you may go home and take it out on your husband. What do you want? No, I don't want to eat that. No, I'm not hungry. Just leave me alone, right? So that is displacement, redirecting feelings onto a less threatening person. Sublimation, it is channeled into socially acceptable activities. So what this means is such as a girl who grows up arguing with parents, friends, teachers, or she's very opinionated, but grew up to be a lawyer, right? So she changes what is socially not acceptable, right? Because she's always arguing with parents, friends, teachers as she's growing up. Now she's channeled it into something that's socially acceptable. So now she's become a lawyer. Same with a boy that, say, in high school, he was a bully. So he's always fighting and getting in trouble, beating up people. And then as he grows up, he turns into a boxer. So he becomes something that is socially acceptable. That's sublimation. Introjection, that is identifying through fantasy, the expression of impulse or motive. A child who is scolded by their parents for being messy begins to feel guilty whenever their room is untidy. So even when the parents aren't around. So the child has internalized, right, the parent standard. So making those external expectations of their own inner self. So as an example, another example, if you are at a meeting and your boss is talking to someone and saying, you know, you were late on this assignment. So you're internalizing, you're interjecting that and assuming that he's talking to you as well when he's not. Any questions here? Okay. We talked about Carl Jung too. Archetypes. Can anybody tell me about him?
He dealt with individual psychology. He had archetypes, and archetypes are universal patterns that everybody has. He had 4 anima, animus, shadow, and one more. And the anima is like the unconscious female in a male. I think the unconscious, and then the animus is the unconscious male in a female. And then I think the shadow, and stop me when I'm wrong. And I think the shadow is like the side that people hide that you don't want others to see.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can remember.
Okay, that's a good start. So collective unconscious.
Okay.
Collective unconscious. I didn't want to stop you because I know that you were trying to figure it out as you go. So it's collective unconscious. You still did a good job there.
What does a collective mean?
What was that?
What is collective? Like, explain collective unconscious.
So what it says is believes in the collective unconscious. So this is the concept that the mind has shared memories, right? And experiences common to all human mankind. So it's collectively unconscious, all the memories that has been shared with all of us. So he was considered a neo-Freudian as well, because he said our emotions are really just based on all of our human experiences collectively. So in other words, he says that's why we have the archetypes. We all, he says, we all have that anima, and we all have the animus, male or female. We all have that. Remember the shadow. That's what we hide. Our deep-rooted desires. This is our self. This is our persona. This is who we display to the public of who we are. Did I answer your question? Okay. Okay. Talked about the Myers-Briggs. That is based on Carl Jung's. And we'll talk more about this too. This is still used today. This is our personality questionnaire. So the neo-Freudians, they are still concepts of the psychoanalysis, but it builds on Freud's work without the sex. So we're going to move on to, good job, everybody. We'll move on to Gestalt. Does anybody know anything about Gestalt?
He's hearing now.
Okay. Anything else?
Gestalt had several techniques that help people process their trauma and process their things that they have gone through in different ways.
Mhm.
Like almost like acting therapy. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but like acting out the scenario or like able to like yell at the therapist or the empty chair or these kinds of things.
Okay. So Gestalt, let me bring that up for us. So acting out, he was more, so you're saying because he had the empty chair? Let me bring it up.
Right. So it's like some sort of like a reality processing, like being able to like scream out the emotions or have someone respond to the, give a stand in the place of that absent father and respond to the person, to provide some level of healing in that place where that person was hurt.
Okay. Well, let's cover it. I see where you're going with that. So a little bit more of Gestalt, not so much as, expressing so much deep emotions, but still being in the present. So you're right about that. So who discovered Gestalt theory was Fritz Perl. Okay. He is our theorist for Gestalt theory. What he said was he was an existentialist. Okay, Gestalt theory was based on existential principles. What existential means is the human experience, the human existence. So he spoke about the here and now, right? Focused on the here and now. That's key for Fritz Perl. We got to know Gestalt theory was Fritz Perl. He was an existentialist, focused on the here and now, and a holistic systems theory viewpoint.
What did you say about the existential principles?
That is known for human existence. That's what it means. Existential. Human existence. He said, in order to move on holistically, your whole being, we have to fix unfinished business to become a whole or complete gestalt. So, gestalt meaning a whole complete, meaning a whole complete circle. That's the meaning of gestalt. So, you are right. The therapist does get into the moment with the client, right? They are able to do some role playing. There's the 2-chair technique. And you are right, when you're in that chair, the client is able to see that empty chair and to express their issues. If it is your mother who you have always had a problem with during your life, and you've always struggled to have a healthy relationship, here is your time in this empty chair to really express how you feel as if she's there. That is the role playing of the 2-chair technique. As you see here, The empty chair involves having the client talk to an empty chair in order to resolve old issues. Role plays and reenactment involves helping the client practice certain skills in the present moment. Experimentation methods involves the use of different Gestalt techniques. Dream work is big for Gestalt. Involves reenacting a client's dreams inside the therapy session. Present moment awareness helps track a client's body language and notice subtle changes that indicate that they're thinking, feeling, and experiencing. So you're present with them in the moment. You're noticing their body language. There's subtle changes in their body movement. Any questions so far? Go back to the book here, role-playing exercise that helps you experience both sides of a conversation and being aware of hidden perceptions. We talked about this. We believe that Fritz Perl believed that it was vital to develop awareness of feeling in the present, the here and now. He was not concerned with the past. He was only concerned with the here and now. Figure ground, that principle. Whatever is most pressing you is what you see. So there's a face. Here it is right here. The face in the vase image, the figure ground. This is where that comes from. So whatever is most pressing you is what you see. He said this is important to take care of. Unfinished business. This is work on how this is impacting the individual in the here and now. He said in order for you to move on, you have to take care of the unfinished business. Confrontation to stay with feelings and relieve experiences. The goal for the client is to gain awareness of moment-to-moment experiences, accept responsibility, and create a shift from external support to internal support. Interventions, role playing, becoming aware of inner conflicts, the empty chair. We talked about that. The client imagines another person is there. Dream work. Client interprets a dream. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of homework, a couple that we did not go over today. Okay, we'll go over them because I want to get to some test questions. You skipped that one. Okay, as a group, try this question. Remember to read it out loud and then eliminate and tell me what you think.
Anybody want to read it?
I'll read.
Thank you.
Which of the following best represents the feminist view of the therapist-client relationship? A, the therapist remains neutral to avoid influencing the client. B, the therapist uses authority to guide insight. C, the therapist is a collaborative equal who shares power. D, the therapist avoids self-disclosure to maintain professional distance.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Anybody know what the feminist view?
What does it sound like when we have feminist view? A feminist view.
Gender equality
Okay.
for the person. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So equality for everyone, not just women, but could be like the LGBTQIA community. Okay.
I think D is not right. I mean, the therapist avoids self-disclosure. I don't know, to maintain professional distance.
Then I would probably omit B. The therapist uses authority to gain insight.
Okay. Yeah, because they're not going to use the authority because it's equality. We're dealing with equalness.
Mhm.
So I agree with that. With B. Yeah. And then I kind of like C. Therapist influencing the client. Or I don't know, I kind of like A because I don't know.
The influence piece.
Yeah, because it's like I don't want to avoid influencing. Like you don't want to influence them. You want to be on their side, or you just kind of want to remain neutral, or you want to remain supportive. But yeah. So what y'all think if we had to choose?
Every time I do this, I get it wrong, but I'm gonna go with C.
A.
I would go with C.
Therapist remains neutral.
To
I'm gonna go with A.
Therapist
means
is a collective equal.
what you say, Joyce?
I don't know. I'm between C and A. I don't know. My strong thought is C.
Collaborative equal. I'm thinking I'm pushing towards A. I said C at first, but I know that the therapist
to avoid influencing the client.
But-
Therapist
but-
neutral to avoid neutral.
question. Because it's a therapist client, does that mean something? Client therapist client relationship. The therapist name is first. I don't know. Therapist client.
No, that
Okay.
doesn't mean, I mean, it's just saying the therapist client relationship.
Okay.
I mean, but as therapists, we supposed to always remain neutral, though.
Right. The therapist remains neutral to avoid
It
influencing.
might be A.
I'm thinking towards A now because if we remain, the therapist is a collaborative, that means together, equal, who shares power. I don't share power in this.
Yeah.
I don't think I would
it's
share
A.
power, but I don't.
A.
Yeah,
A.
I'm kind of going to A also.
A. Who is C? I was
Feminist therapy.
Mm.
There you go.
I was right.
Feminist therapy seeks
Therapist
the
seeks
first
to
mind
deconstruct
I
hierarchy.
said C.
and fosters.
Who said C?
I said C.
I
I
first said
said
C,
C.
I
and
said
then
C, and
A.
then I started thinking A. But
Yeah, me-
I was going with C was my first.
Can we
Okay.
see the answer? Why?
Yes. I'm sorry. Feminist theory seeks to deconstruct hierarchies. So I think you guys were going back. What made you go with A?
Because it said neutral, but
Yeah.
that's completely wrong. Because in a feminist, because in the answer it says that's what they do. And if you're having feminist therapy, you're supposed to deconstruct.
Mm-hmm.
My thought process was you're not, because I don't know the feminist theory too well.
Okay.
So that makes sense.
So it's collaborative, right? You want to share, you want to deconstruct that hierarchy of what they know it to be, right? And to help them out with their views. A lot of them come to you, and let me bring feminist theory up for you. Give me a second. I was working on getting you. Hang in there, Kenzie. Sorry, I was trying to work on getting you guys some other questions to pull up. So you were asking about feminist theory. Basically what it is you being able to collaborate. So gender roles, right? That's really what it's referring to. You being able to identify a lot of the times when for feminist theory, they are looking to replace that hierarchy. A lot of it comes with the inequality of roles, right? So that's where the feminist theory comes into play. Does that make sense? Yes. A lot of times it has to do with the social systems too, of how men are prioritized, but it's not just about men anymore, because now that's why I mentioned the LGBTQIA community is also a part of it as well. So it's about race and sexuality, class. So basically the oppression of individuals. I'm gonna do one more, but I'm trying to get some different ones. Some of these we have not done. Okay, try this one. You guys want to do another one as a group? A therapist asks, when did you first notice that self-doubt started interfering with your dreams? Let me see. I don't like that one. I got a lot of the same. Sorry, guys. I don't like these questions. Try. These are tough. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, we're just gonna go with these. Give me just a second. Sorry, I'm just trying to find some better questions that make a little bit more sense because we haven't covered so many of these, but we're just going to go over these and work through them together.
Well, I got that one right. The one that you have on the screen.
Cognitive dissonance. Did you? There was another program that we used to use, but it's taken me too much time to get to it. So sorry about that. Okay, so a client says, I used to think gambling was wrong, but after going a few times with friends, I see it differently. What dissonance strategy is reflected? And you got it right, the belief adjustment.
Yes, because the answer was kind of in the question, said that she changed or the person says they changed the way they see gambling.
That's awesome. So where'd you find it in the answer? Say it one more time.
After going a few times with friends, I see it differently. So seeing it differently was a change in the belief is what I know it wasn't denial. I deleted a couple. I had it between B and C.
Yeah. That was awesome. And like you said, it is in the question. So again, if you're reading the question to make sure to understand it, so go back and reread. Okay. The client says, I used to think gambling was wrong, but after going a few times, I see it differently. So your strategy was great. Going back, making it make sense, and trusting yourself. So good job there. Let's go to another one. Somebody read this question for me.
In therapy, which intervention best facilitates exploration of cognitive dissonance? A guided imagery to reduce stress. B, validating client defenses to build rapport. C, Socratic questioning, targeting belief behavior gaps. Assigning a symptom checklist.
So cognitive dissonance, what that is a change in our behavior. So that really came from humans. We naturally want consistency between what we think, right? So this refers to basically a discomfort or tension that we feel when we have conflicting views or beliefs about something. So cognitive dissonance. So if you wanted to say, if you were a smoker and you wanted to smoke a cigarette, so you want to do it, but you're having those, it's discomforting because you want to, but then you don't because your family's standing right there. So you're conflicting between the two. Does that make sense? So quitting smoking is the best thing for you. Everybody says that. We all know that. But then at the same time, you're struggling because what? It helps you to calm down or releases some type of stress. So with that guidance for cognitive dissonance, where would you guys go with this?
I would definitely say validating client defense to build rapport. Client defense validating. So yeah, you're validating the client defenses to build rapport. Sounds, not logical to me.
Okay, so you're eliminating B.
I mean, I like C because Socratic questioning, asking them the questions that target their belief behavior gaps. I don't know what anyone else thinks.
Anyone else?
Which two did you eliminate? I'm sorry.
I only eliminated B. I just personally think it's C because Socratic questioning means asking a person a question to make them think as to why they are or are not doing something.
Since it has to do with behavior, I also would go with C.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true.
And it's not really talking about symptoms, it's talking about behavior. So I would eliminate D.
Okay. Yeah. And you said it, where in therapy, which intervention? So which intervention best facilitates the exploration of cognitive dissonance?
So is Socratic questioning an intervention?
I think so too.
I thought it was a technique that you use. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good call on that. Intervention, that's the key word. And cognitive dissonance is about behavior. So I would choose C.
Guys going with C, you said? Good job. Way to eliminate. And I like how you went back. So again, it's in the question. So in therapy, the key word here, like you said, the intervention, which intervention best facilitates the exploration of cognitive dissonance, right? So we're not talking about the guided imagery.
Is
Right.
guided imagery an intervention?
It's not an intervention for the cognitive dissonance, right? So the guided imagery of it. So which would make more sense? This is guided imagery is, right? It is, but this makes more sense, right? Because you even said it, the behavior, right? The Socratic questioning is targeting belief behavior gaps. That's what makes sense, right? Because we understand that it's the behavior that we're trying to identify, right? And like it says here, the inconsistencies of the behavior. So C would make more sense. Good job there. Let's try this one. Guys, want to do one more as a group and do a couple individuals?
Sure, I'm happy to read.
Okay, this is a group question.
The client justifies staying in an unhealthy relationship by saying all relationships are hard and no one's perfect. What kind of dissonance reduction is this? A, belief elimination, B, projection, C, rationalization, or D, cognitive diffusion. So it's asking what dissonance reduction,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of denial, right?
So like rationalization means you're rationalizing why you're doing something, to my knowledge. And I think projection means when you project how you feel or project your emotions onto somebody. I think. Okay, so yeah, and I don't know what belief elimination and the other one means. If anybody else does.
I think the cognitive diffusion is going to have to do with the behavior again. And this is more of a thought or a belief or a rationalization. Am I right about that? Is cognitive diffusion a behavior?
Are you asking your group?
Does anybody know if cognitive diffusion is a behavior? Lisa as Latoi? I don't.
I thought you were asking each other. I'm sorry. That's why I didn't say anything. What was it? I'm sorry.
The definition of cognitive diffusion, is it a behavior like
creating a distance or something from your thoughts? Diffusing is like when you diffusing a situation or something like.
I'm just gonna
separated or something.
Figure this one out. I'm just gonna not say anything.
I just think it's C. I
think it's C too, but I think cognitive diffusion is when we kind of separate our thoughts from something.
Yeah, because cognitive is the mind, deals with the mind. So I don't.
Well, the cognitive dissonance is like smoking the cigarette. So it's
the inconsistency in your mind. Cognitive dissonance to me is like the inconsistency, right, in your mind.
Right. I think rationalization part of it is justifying. And I think the thing says the client justifies staying in an unhealthy relationship. So I think it's C. I think it's you.
Yep.
I'd go with C.
Good job. Good job. You didn't need my help.
What we wanted to know was cognitive diffusion of behavior.
I know, but I know.
Oh, you want to know?
Yes, that is a behavior. I'm sorry, but I just wanted you to just go through them and just try to do it yourself. And you were able to do it. And good job. So yes, it is. Good job there. Good job. Because they are, how'd you guys get to it?
By eliminating A and B
Mm-hmm.
and not knowing what D means.
You were right. You guys did a good job there working together. Do you guys want to do individuals? Need to get my charger so my laptop does not die. We're on a roll with cognitive dissonance. So anyone want to go and take this?
I mean, I can. Cognitive dissonance theory is most closely aligned with which theoretical orientation in counseling? Humanistic, behavioral, cognitive, psychoanalytic, cognitive dissonance is when those thoughts and behaviors are not aligning. I'm going with cognitive. Thoughts in me. I don't think it's psychoanalytic because we're not talking about the unconscious.
Hey.
Do we know what it's not? Does anybody know for sure what it's not?
I can't see with the batteries running low. But this is her question. This is Jesse's question.
I mean, I know it's not psychoanalytic and I know it's not humanistic.
But is it a theoretical orientation?
The cognitive dissonance theory. I'm going with cognitive. Psychoanalytic is not.
It's not D.
It's
I'm
not
thinking
These are all.
Hey.
So the cognitive dissonance theory is most closely aligned with which theoretical orientation? These are all theoretical orientations in counseling.
D.
I don't think it's behavioral. I don't think it's humanistic. I know psychoanalytic does deal with, I feel like it deals with cognitive, so I don't know, C or D.
What are you picking, Jesse? Whose question?
It's mine. I mean, I'm going with
Oh, you guys are all working together. Okay.
I think I'm going with cognitive. I know it's not humanistic because we're not, but could it be if
who is humanistic?
Humanistic, we are Carl Rogers, reaching one's highest potential, becoming a fully functioning self or something like that. And when you have cognitive dissonance, your behaviors and your thoughts are not, is it your behaviors and your thoughts are not aligning?
Mm-hmm. Cognitive, way you think.
I mean, so could it be humanistic? Cognitive, I know it's your thought process.
Mm-hmm. Behavioral
is learning from your environment.
Yes, behavior is basically anything behavioral is just focused on the behavior itself. Doesn't matter about anything from the past. They just want to focus on the behavior and how to change the behavior. Psychoanalytic, we know that has to do with Freud.
I'm going with C. I'm going with cognitive.
Okay.
Yay.
Yeah. And cognitive dissonance theory is mostly aligned with, it says it, cognitive.
Yeah, but that could have been a trick.
Right.
I know.
Could
Like,
have
is it a
But we
trick?
know that that's the way it centers around our thoughts, right? Because that's what we have been talking about, just previously, our internal thoughts and our beliefs and our behaviors. You're right, Kenzie. That could have been a trick.
Yeah, could be tricks.
But again, it's not trying to trick you. You guys did good here.
And let me ask you, would psychoanalytic be the past thoughts, like when you're trying to dig into the past?
That's
Okay.
Freud. Anytime you see psychoanalytic, you know that is Freud. That's the unconscious. Freud, yes. That's key to know that that's Freud anytime you see that.
What, psychoanalytic?
Yes.
Okay. So Freud's a psycho?
You said it. He's a little strange, I'd say. I don't know where he came up with his theories, but okay, ready? Good job, guys. Let's try this one. Who wants to take this? Anybody want to take this one? We only got a couple minutes.
Yeah, I can.
I've been talking
No,
all day.
that's
so.
okay, Jesse. Somebody else needs to try. But thank you for stepping up. Renetta.
A therapist uses dissonance deliberately by asking a client if you say you value independence. Why do you rely on your partner for all decisions? What is a likely goal of this approach? A, instill guilt to prompt change. B, create discomfort to foster internal realignment. C, test a therapeutic alliance. D, reduce dependency through confrontation.
You want to read the question again?
A therapist uses dissonance deliberately by asking a client if you say you value independence. Why do you rely on your partner for all decisions? What is the likely goal of this approach? I don't think it's C.
Okay. Why?
Why would I want to test the alliance? Like, why would I want to do it? I don't think it's D, reduce dependency through confrontation. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. I think it might be B.
Create discomfort to foster internal realignment.
Maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Therapists may intentionally highlight contradictions to advocate dissonance, increasing motivation for behavior or belief change. Good job. Okay, everybody see how we got there? And again, I think it's important to make sure you slow down when you read. Make sure you're understanding what the question is saying, right? And read, answer key, And if you need to go back just to make sure you're understanding what it's saying, just go back and read it again, right? So you did a good job. Okay. Lakeisha.
A person who experiences cognitive dissonance but does not resolve the tension is likely to demonstrate which of the following: increased clarity about personal goals, decreased motivation and higher stress, improve decision making and insight, heightened resilience and self-awareness. A person who experiences cognitive dissonance but does not resolve the tension is likely to demonstrate which of the following.
Where are you leaning towards eliminating? So a person who experiences cognitive dissonance but does not resolve the tension is likely to demonstrate which of the following? Increased clarity about personal goals, decreased motivation and higher stress, improved decision-making and insight, D, heightened resilience and self-awareness. So a person who experiences cognitive dissonance but does not resolve the tension. So they're not resolving the tension. And that's the key word here. They're experiencing the cognitive dissonance, but does not resolve the tension. I didn't mean to get the answer right there. But I have to now because we only got a minute. But it was decreased motivation and higher stress. So because of that, the unresolved dissonance often results in chronic discomfort, confusion, avoidance. So it's impacting the motivation and the well-being. So this was a little difficult. So, but we know it's not increasing clarity about personal goals, right? Because we're not resolving the tension. So we know it's not that one. We know that it's not going to be the heightened resilience and self-awareness, right? Because we're not resolving the tension. We know that it's not improved decision-making and insight. So it's decreasing the motivation and higher stress because the tension has not been resolved. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay. Good job, guys. Did awesome. So our time is up. You have a great week. You guys got this. I'm going to send you a couple of theorists I want you to review while you're reviewing everything else. It's just going to lead us into next week. Okay.
Okay.
Reach out to me if you have questions or concerns. I'm always here. And have a wonderful week. You got this. You guys are doing awesome. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Take care.